morning, everybody. And just first of all, I'm at our Heathrow office at Iris at the minute, and that is fog. Can you believe it's fog? So I'm from up north. I thought it'd be really lovely and sunny down here. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that to you in the background, just in case you thought I got a filter on. But yeah, good morning. This is our fortnightly installment of our live streaming sessions. And again, we've got an absolutely fantastic session for you today. And we've got an equally fantastic guest. So first of all, please, if you're watching this live, can you put #live in the comments just so I can see that you are watching live? If you're watching it later after the event on replay, if you could just put #replay so we can just see who's watching from which channels, which platforms, and whether you watched it live or not. So this session is a big one. So it's all about how to systemise your accounting practice, your bookkeeping practice, so that it can eventually run without you. And I know this is a massive topic. So yes, I'm Beth Flanagan. I'm the market accountancy specialist here at Iris. And as many of you already know, I'm an accountant and I had my own business called Mind Your Assets Accounts, which I ran for a long time, 17 years. I know I don't look old enough, but anyway, I did. And this is my special guest who actually, it's no surprise, but this is Johan Gorey, and he actually is the person responsible for buying my practice so that I could come and work for Iris. So yes, Johan, can you introduce yourself a little bit, please?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name's Johan Gorey. I'm the I'm the group managing director of the On Point Accounting Group. We've got a couple of different accounting firms dotted across the UK. So I'm based in Edinburgh. We've got an office up in Dunkeld in Perthshire, which is where I started it all 6 years ago now. We've now got a fantastic Mind Your Assets firm over in Sheffield, and we've got a office down in Hemel Hempstead and team members dotted across the UK, looking after clients across the UK. I started my business 6 years ago in May, myself and no clients, and we now look after about 850 clients across the UK, using a team of 13, 14 of us to do that. Absolutely
brilliant. And yeah, you've not only just acquired my firm, you've acquired quite a few, like you said, in the past as well. But this is not just about sort of systemizing your business so you can sell it. Well, obviously you could use that for that intention, if you like, if that's your intentions to sell your practice. But ultimately, as accountants and bookkeepers running their own practice, it's just so busy, isn't it, Johan? Like you don't have time to breathe, never mind anything else. So to systemize your practice so that an accountant, bookkeeper can work on the business rather than in it is what we want to try and get everybody that's listening to this session onto, so that they can start to have a little bit of life back. Obviously, it's been a bit stressful the last few months for most accountants, and now is typically the time for accounting firms to start planning. So that's why we're here. We want to help you. But let's just take it right back. So I've been an accountant for 20 odd years, and I can remember my first job being like an assistant accountant. I can't remember where it was, but yeah, what I can remember is those horrible, big, red, massive ledger books that literally fill the table. Like if I put my arms out like this, it was like bigger than this. I might exaggerate a little bit, but you know what I mean? Those big red books. And I'm still surprised that they're on sale still today. I can't believe that. I actually looked yesterday. But what you had to do, you used to have to write all the money's in on one side, all the money's out on the other side from the bank statement, get a really bad wrist ache because you're using your pen. I mean, I can't remember the last time I wrote, to be honest, it's typing. But then going from that to then going to maybe Excel and you know, getting everything in Excel, to nowadays in 2023, where there's so many different softwares that all talk to each other, all synchronized. We've got all these APIs and everything, and we've just come such a long way, haven't we, in accounting, in the accounting industry, Johan? What do you think about that? Can you remember these big red books, or am I just showing my age?
You're showing your age a little. Look, I've come across the odd client that's still got those big books, but yeah, like when I first got into finance and accounting, I came through kind of a corporate background in industry, as it were. So I worked in the finance department for a big outdoor activity centre. So they used a system called iScala, and it's ancient. It's a very horrible old system that you can't void, you can't delete. if you made any mistakes, you had to do a reversing journal and all your journaling in and out. And I always got my credits and debits mixed up. And then like month end took 21 days to get through for the reports to then be run in a hideous format. So that's kind of where my experience started. But from the day one of me running my practice, I've always had the privilege and the benefit of having the QuickBooks, the Xeros, the free agents, etc. of the world.
Cash flow,
all sat there available to me and my practice and my clients.
Yeah.
So I started with a kind of clean slate with the latest tech available to me. So I've not had to go through the same transformations as firms that have got all these big filing cabinets full of paper, etc. do and will need to in the near future.
Yeah. So I did show my age a little bit there, though, didn't I? So anyway, no, I totally know what you mean. But so what do you think then, as a practice owner yourself, and that's acquired other practices like mine that was systemised, and if we've got practice owners now on this live thinking about it and they want to start their journey, whether they've just started in practice or I'm all joking around, but they might still be using Excel because they don't really know where to start. What do you think is a good starting point for a practice to get started? Like, what areas should they work on first to get that step into being systemised?
It's your general ledger. So the cash flow tools out there, the QuickBooks, the Xero, etc. It's getting your general ledger, because everything else pulls off from the general ledger. Your Iris accounts production pulls out of your general ledger. Your payroll can push in and pull out of your general ledger. That it's all based on your general ledger. So that's the first foundation step you need to make to get your business ready. And it's not, if someone comes to me with a business they want to sell and it's on Excel, or even worse, paper ledgers, or a majority Excel still, then they're not going to get the same offer they would if it was a systemised firm like yours was, Bev.
Yeah.
Because I've got to put so much work and resource into modernising that and making it efficient, that I've got to look at my investment on that business and take that into account when I make an offer. But it's not even just to sell. It's, I've not been in my business this week. On Monday, I was doing a webinar with Accounting Web. Yesterday, I was doing product demos for a practice management tool that I'm now a co-owner of. I do podcasts every week for Ask the Accountant. I've barely spent any time in my business this week, and that's because it's systemised, it's ready, and I've got an amazing team that can deliver the work and look after the clients in my stead. So whether it's you want to spend more time with your family, you only want to work a 4-day week, you want to go golfing every Friday, you want to be able to get away for 2 or 3 weeks holiday, you want to go and do podcasts, you want to go and do speaking at conferences, whatever it is you want to do, it all starts with the systemising of your business and a great team that then delivers that system.
No, that's definitely a good point. And like you said, you're quite comfortable knowing that you're working sort of on your business and your sort of presence in the accounting industry, but your clients are fully covered because you've got a good team and you've got good systems in place to do that. And I remember that I was like that, obviously, at the end, before I sold. But I also remember when it wasn't, and I was really, really overwhelmed. And I'm sure there's lots of people listening in today that's feeling quite overwhelmed and not sure where to start, not sure what software is best for them, not sure what synchronizes with what, not sure sort of, how to save time so that they can do this, exactly what you're saying, Joanne. No matter what that is, like you said, it's different for everybody. And it might be that they want to spend time with the family. It might be that they want the practice just to run on its own so that, I don't know, like me, they can go and sit in the spa all day or something. I wish, by the way, that doesn't happen. But everybody's different and everybody's got the different reasons for it, or whether they want to sell like I did. But everyone's got different reasons and they need to start somewhere. But yeah, I remember being so stressed and not having time to work on the business. I was constantly in it in the beginning, which you just have to be, don't you? So I suppose to start with, you've got to get your fingers, your sleeves rolled up and get stuck in. But then, once you get into the flow and you start it off, I mean, that's a really good point where you just said about your general ledger. I'd also say as well, practice management software is massive as well.
Huge.
Obviously, you mentioned the one that you're involved in. We've got practice management softwares here at Iris that are absolutely fantastic as well. I used to use Centre, that's no secret, which is obviously an Irish product. And I used to say all the time, that was my life. I literally was in that every single day, and I knew exactly what my team were up to, with which client, how far, what progress they've made to that. So I knew everything, and I could be anywhere in the world as long as I got my laptop and the internet. Just like the team, they could have been anywhere working. But I think practice management is a massive must-have as well. And I see accountants these days, and if they're particularly small, like if it's just one-man band or something, or one-woman band, they might think, I don't need it. But I definitely disagree, because as you grow, Excel's not going to be good enough for you. And that's why I started in Excel, and I got to a certain point and it's like, I can't do this anymore. What if something happens to that Excel sheet? It's how can I manage all my deadlines? It's not efficient enough for me. So do you agree with that? With the practice management is also
completely. Like, I didn't take on practice management until I was 80 clients in,
right?
And I regret it to this day.
Yeah.
And because if you get onto a practice management tool, whichever practice management tool you go to use, on day one or as close to it, it's really easy to add client after client as you go.
Yeah.
Trying to migrate 80 clients, whatever it is, into a practice management tool, it's a hugely time-consuming job.
Yeah.
For us to move a practice management tool now, we're looking at a week of 3 people doing data entry. So getting a tool and sticking with it, which is a bit hypocritical coming from me, because I have been around the houses. As my colleagues will tell you, I'm a bit of a software whore. I get around. I'll try anything once. One of my team says, "Oh, you're like a butterfly, Johan, just going from software to software." So that's quite a polite way of putting it compared to everyone else. But
no, I know what you mean.
Getting it in straight away is so important, and then building your systems and processes around it, and building. If you've got team members, they need to live in it. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 different monitors in front of me right now, which is a bit extreme. But one of those monitors is constantly, the only thing on it is practice management.
Yeah.
That is just a fixed status. And I'm constantly monitoring. I'm looking at things. I can drill down into things. I can see where we're up to at any point. Tax return season, I had one screen basically, which was all the tax returns based on status. Who are we chasing? Whose records have we got? Whose records are we missing parts of? Have we sent it out for signing? Is it in progress? Is it in review? I slept really easily this January because I had that visibility. I didn't work weekends. I didn't work evenings. None of my team did. And I was off doing the occasional talk at a conference and stuff, because I had that visibility and confidence in what was happening.
Exactly. That's it, and it's that peace of mind as well, and is it? Like I said, using Excel, that it just doesn't cut it. And even if you've just got a couple of clients, like Johan said, that is so crucial to get the practice management software in right at the beginning. You might think, oh, it's a waste of money, I don't need it just yet, I've got everything in my head, it's absolutely fine. No, empty your head, let these systems work for you, so that exactly like Johan said, you can see. So in my centre, for example, I had all my workflows all set up as jobs, so I can click a button, I can see exactly what the next VAT returns are due, by when, and where we're up to with it. And exactly like the status, like you said, can click a button, know what the personal tax returns are, click a button, know what my corporation tax returns for, etc., payroll. And to have that knowledge and peace of mind that bit's working for you is massive. And I think, and another thing going on to the practice software as well, practice management software, is I'm like you as well, but I wouldn't call myself whatever you said. What did you call yourself?
Yeah.
I'm not definitely not going to say that about
Googled.
myself, but I'd prefer to say I like shiny new things.
You're a magpie.
Yeah. So if I'd started on something and it's okay, and then I'd go, oh, something new, I'll try that. And that's what I did. And there's loads of stuff out there, obviously, that we've said, and everyone's different. It's Dan's personal choice. I ended on Centre because it's very colourful, it's very visual, and yeah, it was just nice for me. I preferred it, and like you said, I lived in it every single day, and so did my team, because it is your life. I know it sounds so stupid,
It
but
runs your business.
It is your life, yeah, and it's like that. It's like an extra set of hands, a helping hand, isn't it, really? But you know, by taking care of your digitalization means that you can be more efficient as a practice owner, which means that things are completed on time every time, and therefore it gives you this time back that we said, to do whatever you want, even if it's growing your practice, which most people listen to this, that will be the case. And can you imagine having time to be able to increase your client relationships, because you've got the time to be able to sit with them, speak with them, have more Zooms with them, be able to increase your prices, working on your prices. Maybe you've got then the time to work on extra services like virtual finance director services and stuff like that. There's so much that you can do by, you know, digitalizing your firm, and you not being in it. You can work on it rather than in it. I always say that, on it rather than in it. Anyway, let me use you now, Johan. Let's ask you some questions, because I've been rabbiting on a bit. So do you think, so once your practice is digitalized, how, and you sort of, you're confident in your digitalization and your staff and all your tech staff are using, do you think it's then fair to charge extra to your clients because of that?
If you've done it right, you're going to be so efficient that you can take on new clients, so you don't need to pass those charges on to current clients. Like, the reason we've got a tech stack is to be more efficient. So with data capture, for example, I started off with auto entry, which was more affordable for me at the time because it was a credit basis. But then I started getting to a point, it's like, Receipt Bank, or Dex as it is now, would be a better choice for us cost-wise.
Because it's a fixed monthly fee.
It's a fixed monthly fee, so I can offer it to anyone without passing that fee on to anyone. It's just a cost of me running my business. So we did that, and then, because we had the ability, without any fear of price increasing, to pass on that software and give it to every client, we suddenly found loads of free time. We found loads of efficiency. So, which meant we could take on more clients, we could grow quicker, which offset the cost of that software even further. So if you're doing it right, the tech stack should pay for itself through efficiency. And like, so our Dext, we processed 3,096 documents last month.
Wow.
Average 72% auto-published.
Yeah.
Now, if I was sat in a traditional firm where they've got their paper ledgers, or they've got an Excel sheet, or they've still got their person sat there entering data manually for each receipt, I'd have probably had to have, 4 data entry people there to do that.
And how much would that cost in wages and stuff like that, rather than a few hundred quid?
You're looking at maybe 5 or 6 grand in wages a month, or in our case, like £800 for Dext.
Yeah.
So it's seeing the bigger picture of the efficiencies, and not just going, that's coming, that's stung, that came out the bank. It's like, yeah, but it's still better than 6 grand a month in wages.
No, that's definitely a massive point. And my next question was to you. It was to how do you educate your clients to work in your way? And just before you answer, let me just say about mine, because as you know, Johan, that I specialise in a way in trades and construction, so your builders and your plumbers and stuff like that. Now, if I can get builders and plumbers from screwing the receipts up and chucking it in the van to using a mobile app to take a picture as soon as they've got it, and then they love it because they can throw that receipt away, anybody can do it. Honestly, anybody can do it. And going back, I used to use Dex as well, like you said, Johan. But I did charge as well. Obviously, this is an accountant's bookkeeper's prerogative. It's up to you. But I did let some of my softwares, I did sort of, I didn't want to bear the full cost. I did pass it on to clients, even if it was just 10, 15 quid a month. Clients weren't bothered, but they could see the value of it, and therefore it was the software were paying for itself anyway. But yeah, they used to love it. They used to love it. So even if I used to say to them, obviously, once you've took that picture, throw that receipt away as long as it's a good picture. Unless it's for a warranty purposes, like they've just bought a boiler or a laptop or something. But it's educating them as well, isn't it? Like they're very reluctant, these builders and plumbers, until you show them how to do it, the reasons why you should do it, and how much time it's going to save them, and how much, extra space they've got in their van because there's not screwed up pieces of paper everywhere. But how do you do that with your clients? How do you educate them to work with you, and that this is a good way to work with us?
So we started, when we had people like in the trades, we started by giving them a folder. As part of their onboarding, they got given a folder which stayed in the glove box in their van where they put their receipts, because that was step one. They weren't screwed up anymore.
Yeah,
they were flat in a folder.
Exactly.
And they weren't covered in coffee stains, mud, and I hope it was mud. McDonald's, yeah,
ketchup.
Yeah, that's it, brown sauce, all of that stuff. So that was the first step, and that was a bonus, because they then bring you a folder with flat receipts, which when you've got something like a scan snap like I had, 25 bits of paper in a minute, done, easy. So that was a real big win for us. But then as the apps got better, so the reason we did that was because at the time, this was 5 years ago, AutoEntry's app wasn't great in a weak signal area, and I was up in rural Perthshire where 3G was a premium. So their app kept failing us, so we had to do the folder option, because then we could scan it in the office. Now, though, it's just right, this is how we work. This is how we're going to work with you if you sign up. And they go, cool, yeah, no problems.
Yeah.
And if they say, well, that doesn't really work for us, it's like, right, why not? Let's see what the options are. So I have got a couple of clients in Edinburgh where I live, where they still, because they're just so busy. So like one's a bistro, they're just so busy that they've got about 150K turnover a month,
right,
in a very small bistro, and their paperwork's piling up. So I go in once a month and pick that paperwork up and scan it all for them. Now that costs them extra for that privilege.
Yeah, it's premium service. Yeah,
it costs them a fee, and it also normally costs them my lunch. But like that, we can do that, but that's really like a real premium exclusive thing. So I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying if you're going to do it, make sure they understand the value and they're paying for it.
Of course.
But yeah, with the tech today, like the Dext app, the fact that you can do like 50 documents in one go and upload, it's easy.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really got an excuse not to use the software. And we train we mention it, and this is how we work, blah, 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 at our discovery call or meeting.
Yeah.
And then our onboarding email says, welcome on board, blah, blah, blah. Here's what's going to happen next. Here are the emails you're going to receive. And one is a link to the document capture software of choice.
Yeah.
Along with a link saying, right, first of all, create a login here. Secondly, here is a video done by that software provider of how to use it.
Exactly.
So I'm not even having to do the training myself. The software providers are doing that for me.
So it's all about educating the clients, isn't it? And once you've decided what software you want to use for receiving the information from your clients, which is going to be digital, obviously, it's educating the clients. People like what they like. They don't know what they don't know, do they? So if it's a change, and especially in the construction industry, you've got to show them the value. And like you said, you've done it step by step. See, I'm not that patient, Joanne. I'm like, right, you're doing it like this, or that's it. You've done it step by step. I went straight in. But yeah, but it's all the same. It's the same result at the end of it, isn't it? So as long as we're getting, as accountants, the information from our clients in a digital format, which is more efficient, and then that the software is then processing it, like you said, that Dex, it's you can set it up, can't you, so that you don't even have to have a human intervention to press it. So we used to use that as well. So anything from our construction clients that, for example, was from screw fix or plumb fix or anything like that, I know that went straight to cost of sales. So I didn't need to touch a button to do it. It just used to do it. And like you said, compare that with somebody physically sitting here or going to collect the information, the paperwork, unscrewing it, sitting here, manually typing it all in. That takes time, which is what we're trying to get away from. So just spending that little bit of money on these softwares, it just pays you back tenfold, doesn't it? But
it really does.
on these softwares then, Johan, so do you get your team involved? Like, are you happy and to encourage your team to say, oh, I've just been to an accounting event or whatever, or I've seen a webinar online or something. I think this will be really good for our practice, and I think it'll do this, and it'll save us this time. Or are you like, nope, it's my way or no way? So do you get your team involved?
No, the team are fully involved these days. So 9 out of 10 times it's me that goes to the conferences because the team want me at the office. They just like, there's a risk you're going to come back with new software, but we'll take that risk because it means a day out for us to have a peace and quiet. Is that cool? So I go to the conferences. This year, I've already scheduled in who's joining me on the conferences.
Okay.
So that they can get exposed to the software world, to understand how it works and go and get some ideas. So like last year, I went to Accountex Manchester with George, one of your team members.
Yep.
Young guy in the industry, brand new. He took so much out of that conference, more than I did, because he went to sessions, he went and spoke to software providers, and he came back with ideas.
Yeah.
And we've already discussed, like, I'm doing things like this with my days. I'm talking to high value clients and doing due diligence work with them and FD services, etc. I'm not crunching the numbers. I'm not doing the bookkeeping that the team are. So it would be almost dictatorish of me to assume that I know what software is going to suit them best. So that's why I always invite my team to go to these events with me so that they can go, Johan, this could solve this problem we're having, a problem that I might not even know about, or a thing that's a bigger problem for them than I realized it was at the time. So by taking the team and getting their input, it also makes embracing the change and adopting the software a lot easier, because it's not just me going, you're using this.
You're doing this,
A collaborative thing of, cool, Jade's seen this. Let's have a look at it as a team. What's it going to do? Let's all go and play with it. We'll have a meeting and we'll discuss it. Does it work? Is it going to work? Great, let's go with it.
And that was my next question. How do you keep your team happy for them to sort of want to be able to, they're running your business at the end of the day, aren't they, really? Well, the day-to-day stuff of it, and that forms part of that, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, and just keeping your teams sweet in any way, really. Like, you know, we look after our team members. We value them highly. We know how challenging the recruitment of the industry is at this moment in time. So,
massive.
You know, literally just this morning, I've just signed up all of my team members to have a brownie box from one of our clients every month through the post.
Wow.
So they're going to get 6 chocolate brownies in a box once a month. It's just a thank you.
That's nice. Well, that's making them feel really valued as well, isn't it? Like letting them go, not letting them, that sounds a bit horrible. You know, inviting them to these industry events and these little treats and stuff. And having their input on what will help the practice grow is really valuable, because you don't want to build your tech stack up, make everything run and everything's ticking over smoothly, but then you've got team members that are not happy. Everything needs to, you know, the topic of what we're saying now, how to run your practice, how the practice can run without the practice owner. It's everything all together, isn't it? It's the software, the team, and everything being happy and everything working.
Yeah, and I think my biggest learning from the last 5 years of keeping the team happy and not, you know, we say you've got to spend time on your business, not in your business.
Yes.
And business coaches in the accounting industry say you've got to take a day out, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. It's not realistic to do that on day one.
No, I totally agree.
I set up my business nearly 6 years ago. I was in a very different circumstance 6 years ago. I was single. It was just me and the dog. So I would work in the business in the day, and then I'd have Netflix on in the evening, and I'd be Googling different softwares. I'd be watching demo videos. Yeah. I'd be doing my research in my evenings, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I do a lot less of that, being a married man, but my wife wants to watch Home and Away every night when she gets home. That's absolutely fine. I couldn't think of anything worse. That gives me half an hour of my time to Google and watch YouTube videos on the latest bit of tech or software or whatever it is. And that's how I do it. You know, when I walk the dog, I listen to a podcast. You don't have to remove yourself for a whole day or a weekend or something to achieve it. It's completely achievable, but you have to sometimes accept there's probably a personal sacrifice of personal time to get the ball rolling.
Exactly that. You've got
to
start somewhere.
You've got the time, because once you've done that and you've started getting your systems in place in those personal time, like in the evenings and weekends, you know, like in return for all the evenings and weekends I sat doing that, you know, 5 weeks today, I'll be 3 days into a 2-week trip to Mauritius.
Yeah.
Which is the third 2-week trip to Mauritius I'll have taken in 18 months.
Wow. And you can do that because your practice is systemised. And you know,
that's it. And when I go, I uninstall all my business apps from my phone.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those people that as soon as I see that little icon saying 1, I start twitching.
I'm like that. OCD.
So the laptop doesn't come with me. The iPad does in case of emergencies.
Yeah.
My phone goes, but everything's uninstalled. So I don't get notifications and I am completely off grid for 2 weeks.
And I think a lot of people that are listening to this really want to get to that point. And it is so lovely when you do get to that. And please, if you're listening, don't think that you're not going to get there, because you will with perseverance. Like Johan says, you have to, no matter what you hear online, you can't start off a practice and think, right, I'm not going to do any work. You've got to make your practice established. You've got to work out what tech's best for you. You've got to, to train your team up or outsource. You've got to get those foundations built first, and then work on things, individually.
It doesn't work overnight.
No, it doesn't. You've got to take some effort to get there.
It took me 4 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it now. Like I'm still working and looking at options in the evenings and weekends because I'm passionate about it. It doesn't feel like a chore.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Because so like you said, like you're utilizing your time as well. And it's not like a job to you, is it? It's your life and you love it. And like most business owners that are listening to this right now. So you might, we might sound a bit conflicting by saying build a practice that you can run without you, but then you're saying, oh, in my spare time I'm listening to stuff, but no, that's because you love it and you want to do that. And podcasts, definitely, I know this is another subject totally separate, but I totally agree with listening to podcasts and motivational stuff for YouTube and stuff like that makes you positive and makes you want to get on even more and grow your practice. Definitely.
Yeah, and there's some great podcasts, all right, ours is an hour long every Monday morning. So that's a lot of content and it's a lot of time to commit to listening. But someone like Reza Hudder, he does a 15-minute podcast once a week, normally drops on a weekend. It's very rare I listen to a Reza Hudder podcast and don't walk away with a bit of some kind of burning idea developing in my head for something to take as an action.
Well,
that's really, if you're just doing a dog walk, then why not?
You're utilising your time at the same time, aren't you? Really, you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Talking about Reza as well, his ears are probably going to be burning now. But I've just interviewed Reza for a couple of Irish podcasts as well. So watch this space because they are like there's loads of golden nuggets in there.
Yeah.
So Anthony Butcher as well just put, this is fantastic, and I completely agree on the products adding value and efficiencies for companies. Yeah, definitely. They drive more value, they drive more profitability and efficiency. Then that will, as we've said along on this on this session, that will give you time back as a business owner to do what you want, whether that's doing something personal or to deliver enhanced client experiences and adding that value. And like we said before, that could be spending time with your clients. It could be working on your prices, working on additional products and services, expanding your business because you want to take over the world, expanding your business because you want to sell. Totally up to you. We're all different. We've all got our own experiences and our own aspirations and what we want to do as practice owners. But we could talk about this all day, honestly, but we're going to have to stop at some point. But how often then, Johan, hopefully you don't mind me asking you this, but how often do you now do any client work? I think you've hinted a little bit in this session.
Daily.
But...
So I still deal with clients daily. It's just not necessarily bookkeeping work anymore. Okay. So most of the clients I deal with I'm more talking to them on an FD level. Mm-hmm. So they're acquiring businesses themselves, so they've come to us because they know I've done acquisitions, so they know I'm not talking the talk, I walk the walk. Like, I share my experience of what I've done with them, and they value that. So yeah, I mean, I've still got some clients who have been with me from day one. They're still only worth 50, 60 quid a month to us, and I'm still their point of contact. I might only hear from them once or twice a year.
Yeah.
But the majority of the clients I do deal with are people that are buying businesses, or are, because I've got a great team that are an amazing, my bookkeepers will do a better bookkeeping job than I'll ever do. My tax guys, my accountants will do better jobs than I'll ever do. I don't confess to be a good accountant or a good bookkeeper. Business, I can run circles around all of them. Yeah. Management of people, management of change, leadership, that's my bag of skills. And it's being open with yourself and honest with yourself that you're not always going to be the smartest person in that room. No. Like Steve Jobs surrounded himself with people that were better at doing stuff than he was.
Definitely.
Now when it comes to due diligence and how you structure a deal and what you need to look out for and the mind games in that, that's what I enjoy talking about at the moment. And my topics of enjoyment will change.
Yeah.
So I probably still average client interaction every day.
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2. But like tomorrow, I'm in London. Like, I leave here at 5:30 in the morning. I'll be back at midnight. I'm literally in London for the day to go to a software head office and do some bits there. Like, so there won't be any client interaction that day.
Yeah.
But I've got a few other client meetings booked in on Friday, for example. So I basically pick the clients I want to work with.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So when I do client work, it's enjoyable to me because it's businesses that I've seen grow, or I'm passionate about, or challenging. They challenge me to think things through and come up with ideas.
No, 100%. And you've like sort of hit the nail on the head on a couple of things there as well that I've just been listening to you. One, you've said that your team members are better than you in some areas of running your business. I mean, that's
pretty much all of them.
And that's a brilliant thing to say, because some people listening to this might be like, no one's going to do it as good as me. Maybe that may be the case, but utilize your team. If you've got staff, utilize them in the best way that you can possibly can. If they're better at you than doing something, because we can't be good at everything, right? That's why we get our team, and you've got somebody that does payroll, somebody that does bookkeeping, and it might not be team, it might be an outsourced company that you use, but utilize them to the best of their ability so that it helps you in your practice overall. And also you mentioned the fact, and I've had this before when I was in practice, that because all my stuff was systemized, and I, for example, used a proposal software, so my proposals went out to clients and the letter of engagement, that if clients can see that us as practice owners are efficient and we're using systems, I think that's puts us in a really good stead to work for these, the really good clients that want to know the numbers, that want to grow the business. Because like, all right, well, if my accountant practice what they preach, then they're going to be good for us, a good fit. Do you see that as well? That your clients are impressed with everything.
We've had clients. There's one guy so we were using Practice Ignition at the time, and I sent him his proposal. And it's got the ability to have a video at the start, at the end, blah, blah, blah. He was that impressed. He signed up to Practice Ignition. He runs a gas and plumbing business.
Yeah.
But he signed up to Practice Ignition and adapted it to work for his business, because that was the onboarding or the quoting experience he wanted his clients to have.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Smith down the road wanted a boiler replaced. He would send through Practice Ignition this quote, which you think, why would you ever use that? But he was charging 20-30% more than other people, and he was getting the work because it was like, boof, this is flash, this is impressive, like, it works.
And I had the exact same with Centre by Iris. I had exactly the same, and I embedded in videos in my client onboarding and everything. They're like, wow, this is good. Have you just sent me a video? I says, well, I did, but it automatically went to you because I've already set it up in the sort of in my onboarding stages of creating my software and my setup. And they were really impressed as well. So you know, if they think that we're efficient in our business, because we're still business owners, right? So, you know, we've got to practice what we preach. It's no good as telling our clients what to do in their business. If we don't do it ourselves, we've got to be able to do it. But
and
okay,
I think
then,
a lot of accountants and bookkeepers forget we're business owners.
yes,
they don't put that hat on.
Exactly
and
that.
I'll tell you now, your client does not care how good at writing a set of accounts you are. They don't care how good at bookkeeping or tax efficiency they are.
Yeah.
If you can prove empathy of being a business owner to them and relate to their challenges as a business owner, you will get that client. Like, a criteria to be part of my senior team of managers is that you must have run or currently run your own business.
Yeah.
Because I want my senior team to be able to relate and to be empathetic to our clients' challenges. So Scott's run his own business. Jade has not run her own business, but has worked as a volunteer on numerous charities as treasurers and stuff. Like, I obviously run my own businesses.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone wants to join our senior management team when we grow, it is a criteria, because that way I know from the top up we're empathetic to our businesses, our clients' needs and challenges.
Definitely, 100%. So we're going to have to stop somewhere. I've got one more question for you, but I just want to summarize first before I ask you the question. So we've established that, you know, everybody's got to start somewhere. If you're just starting, start. Get the practice management software kicking in straight away. Don't think I don't need it. I don't need to spend that money. Do it.
Looking at your diary, oh, I've not got a space to take a day out or half a day out. Like, don't let that stop you from starting. Look at it for an hour or two in the evenings.
Yes. Yeah. You've just got to do it. You've got to start. You might have to, you know, get stuck in, as we said, roll your sleeves up in the beginning, but it's going to pay dividends in the long run. If you've got a team, brilliant. Or if you've got outsourcing company, brilliant. Utilize your team the best that they can, even if it's better than what you do. Don't think, oh, that's rubbish because they're better than me. I'm not going to let them do that. Let them do that. If they can do something better than you, let them do it. But make sure that you choose the right software for your company. Make sure you've got everything all flowing through together and it's all systemized. And so you've got that time back for yourself so that you can then work on the business, as we keep saying, rather than in it. But before we go then, so what's your top 3 takeaways for people to systemize the business so it can run without them?
Look, I always say you need to invest time on your business, and whether that's in your evenings or your weekends. Don't get me wrong. I know how lucky I was to start my business as a young single man, because I didn't have kids. I don't have commitments. I could spend my time how I wanted.
Yeah.
And even today, yes, I'm married, but I don't have kids, so I can still work, you know, do a few weekend hours in the office. I can still, you know, I've got complete flexibility. And my wife, although in a 9 till 5 job, has complete understanding of my passion for my business. And she knows that's my biggest driver. But she also knows what that delivers in rewards for us as a couple.
Yeah.
So if you've got kids, I get it's even bigger challenge. And it's very all well and good that I sit here and tell you, you've got to give time to it. But literally, it doesn't have to be half a day or a weekend. It can just be half an hour a day or half an hour a week. It just means the more you put into it, the quicker you'll get results.
Of course.
So start putting time into working on your businesses and your systems. Just because you're starting out doesn't mean you can't do it now. Like, get your practice management day one. Choose your general ledgers day one. Some softwares are really quick and easy to change. Like, if you're on account software and you want to move to Iris, that's really easy because you've not got any client involvement in there. If you're on another general ledger but you want to move to cash flow, that is a more challenging, because you've got to talk to your clients, you've got to communicate why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But if you can justify it to yourself, you can justify it to them. They won't mind that much. So keep evaluating the industry's market space of software, because there may be something better that comes up. Mm-hmm. You know, Iris is spending a lot of time on developing better products constantly.
Yes.
You know, 5 years ago, I'd have never looked at Iris. But now it's something I constantly review is Iris, Sage, anyone. Don't be blinkered to the whole market.
Yeah.
And then once you've started doing it, start taking that time for yourself. Train your team, give them that authority to, you know, like even some of my personal clients that I have as a client manager in my business, like Jade will ring me and say, look, I need to speak to this client, blah, blah, blah. This is the challenge. It's like, cool, go for it. My clients know that other people are in the team. They know we're a big team and they know I'm busy, but they know if they came to me in emergency or wanting any kind of meeting, I would carve that time out of my day for them, even if it's in the evening.
Yeah.
But actually to ask a question over a VAT return, they don't need to speak to me about that. They can speak to my team.
Yeah.
So just give your team the authority to do things.
And don't feel guilty as well if you do take a bit of time out for yourself, because you deserve it. That's the thing. I think I used to feel a bit guilty if I used to have a bit of time out, like, I don't know, half a day off or something. But and then I was constantly thinking about it. But it's like, no, it's running. It's fine. Chill. It's working. You've spent time and effort to build it like that, so it's absolutely fine.
And if you've developed the right culture in your business, so like my team, they all work from home because that's what they all want to do. They all, apart from 2 people, who want offices, so they've got office space.
Yeah.
Like anyone that's got any reason to have to leave work and come back to work, they can do that. I don't care. I don't authorize it before they go. So I've got people that go and start early, do some work, do the school run, come back, do the school run, finish a bit later. Whatever suits them.
Yeah.
And because I've got that culture, when I then disappear for a week or 2 weeks, there is absolutely no bitterness that, the boss is skiving again, because they know they've got all that flexibility and they can always take time off themselves. And they go, actually, Johan, you need to take some time off. You've been here too long now. So
well, that's good when it gets to that point that you can talk to each other like that, to be honest, that you've got that open relationship. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening and watching. And like I said, if you're watching this on replay later after the event, after the live event, you can just put #replay in the comments. I really appreciate that. But thanks so much for your time, Johan. This has been such a massive subject that we could just literally talk about it all week. But obviously here at Iris, we do have everything that can help you to build this practice so it can run without you. We have so many different softwares that can help you. So we also have an outsourcing company as well. So if you're struggling for staff to help you, but please do get in touch if you need any help at all. Once again, thank you so much, Johan, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, babe.